This is how Hollywood shows the Eastern Front. The Soviets throwing young recruits into battle like cattle, with the Germans machine guns at the front and their comrades at the back trying to shoot people running away. It is certain death with those people. That's just one problem that is almost entirely fake. And the sad thing is that this used to be the norm for all kinds of Soviet offensive whatsoever. Or is this the movie that gave you the idea of how a country like China, with billions of people, will conduct warfare with the advantage? Well, obviously, the truth is much further than you actually think. So today, I will be there to explain whether or not the human waste tactics are actually used, or is it just a myth. So now we need to define what a human wave attack is, just so to clear up any misuse and misconception. So here is a Wikipedia definition of a human wave attack. A human wave attack, also known as a human sea attack, is an offensive infantry tactic in which the attacker conducts an unprotected frontal assault with densely concentrated infantry formation against enemy line, intended to overrun and overwhelm the defenders by engaging in melee combat. And U.S. Army analyst Edward Ciodo adds the following: without any attempt to shield or mask the attacker's movement. So, to summarize, the criteria of a human wave attack is mass infantry, unprotected, so a company and above, and have no attempt to conceal the attacker at all. So basically, just attacking in the middle of the field with a company and above is a human wave attack. So for example, here we see three Russian APC pushing right across the field. This is not a human wave attack because the infantry that are attacking the position is protected by the APC, giving covering fire and also protection through small arms fire. Or if it is just a squad of 10 soldiers, then it's still not a human wave attack because 10 men, well, obviously they're not a mass of infantry. Well, the ideas and the origin of the human waste narrative is not completely new. It has been used by the Western media and propaganda for a very long time, mostly to describe the Soviet tactic in World War II. And also, during the 1950s, during the Korean War, it was used to describe the POA tactic. One of the most famous examples is the POS tactic, a small team infiltrating UN and US lines of what is known as a free fire team. The attackers would first use the cover of night to their advantage as they would move up very close to the enemy position, which are often weak points. Until then, they'll strike the enemy around the clock, thus waging confusion through the enemy rank. This gave the impression of a human wave attack, as the defenders had to disperse their firepower against too many groups of enemy, which is the same thing that happens in fighting a mass infantry assault. Well, these were effective at first, but it stopped being effective and became more costly once the front stabilized. But it was a great innovation by the Chinese to overcome the problem that they do not have any real firepower and mechanized support. Well, so that's basically what happened back in the days when a lot of people don't have a lot of means to have news, so they kind of get deceived a lot by the mainstream media outlet. So what about the situation now? The situation is, well, still, you can see. As you can see here, they're talking about the human wave attack and also mentioning the Soviet and how they use it. And of course, they are going to be talking about how desperate the Russians are when trying to use these kind of attack. The entire origin of this myth came from the fact that the Wagner PMC group actively recruited prisoners from Russian penal colonies to fight. So the myth stated that those recruits, those young prisoners, are going to be used as cannon fodder, as meat to wear down Ukrainian ammunition so that they could participate in human wave attack with the purpose of overwhelming the Ukrainian defenses. While there is certainly some truth to the statement, for example, recruitment does take place in prison, and those prisoners are expected to take heavy casualties as they are used as stormtroopers, leading most of the assault done by Wagner in Bakhmut. So, while you might say that they are expandable and they might be cannon fodders, because that's literally what every single military unit is, but I completely disagree with the fact that people are saying that they are used in human wave assault. As far as I am concerned, this is one of the most recorded war in human history yet. And if such human wave assault really happened, why can't we see it? With all the GoPros, drone footage, why cannot we see such a noticeable thing as a mass infantry assault? So even though a lot of us, after doing some research, will know that these kind of narratives are absolute BS, but still, why does it persist until these days? Now, let me tell you why. So why does this myth keep coming back? Simple. It was useful. After 1945, the Allies needed the Soviets to look barbaric. And who helped sell that stories? Of course, it was the losers of the war. Former Wehrmacht officers, now working for the US, swore the Red Army only won by using Asiatic hordes, not tactics. Never mind that these are the same Germans that lost to the same tactics. The Cold War needed a monster, and propagandas are cheaper than nuke. It worked so well that they recycled it. In the 80s, the Mujahideen were heroic underdogs until they weren't. The Human Wave script always find a new enemy. And today, the cycles repeat. Call your enemy minus wave and you suddenly don't have to ask why they keep coming or who's really sending them.